Hello. Hopefully everything is working. I must say that one of the more powerless things is when you start a live stream and it says going live and it just spins. And that's what happened last week. So when that happens, when I just went live now, it's like, oh, I hope it goes live. But it did. So, and I sound great. Thank you, Fred. And hello to Bill. Bonjour, Paul. Hello, Lynn. And Ruth. Ruthless Crab. Hello. Yeah. So, I'm like Jeff often says, I am. My Wednesdays now are really looking forward to this time, and it's really cool. And yeah. So I mentioned, so if you're, let's see, as there's already one like, and I know Ruth likes to remind me to point out that liking the video is helpful. If you want reminders about when this is going to be and a little bit of information, or if I have a little thought in my head, I include that in the reminder. You can send an email to the email that's in chat, and I'll add you to the list right now. So far, the list is it's getting bigger. There's like 39 people on it now, I think. But it's small enough that the Google Gmail program won't stop me from sending them, so that's good. But yeah, so I guess having a smallish group is. And then on Instagram was probably the easiest way to kind of reach out to me. And if you look for Leonard's Coaching, that's where I'm posting things on Instagram. And last week when we did the meditation by the river, actually I don't know if it's a river or a creek, to be honest. I consider it a river, but also I'm from the land of the headwaters of the Mississippi, so I know rivers are swift and big. So maybe it's a creek. The heron that sat in the tree above me while I guided meditation, my partner Lisa got a picture of that, and so I posted that over on Instagram at leonards.coaching, so you can find that. I did say I would do that. Of course, it took me 5 days or 6 days. Yes, stream of meditation. Excellent point in the live stream next to the stream. So in my little email that I had sent out, I pointed out that we've entered the holiday busyness vortex, and I don't have particularly great feelings around the holidays. I spent a lot of time working at a mall, and I saw kind of how freaked out about getting things people can be at the mall. And so I have to occasionally stop and remind myself about the positive things that can happen around the holidays or in the holiday season. So one of the things I was thinking about today that would be beneficial, since we've entered into the holiday busyness vortex, Suzanne, would be maybe to the script a bit and do some friendliness practice kind of around the holiday times. So I think that, and then maybe with a kind of notion of gratitude. But oh, that's an excellent point, Esquin. 21st is the yeah. I saw something today that I guess the Shambhala, the folks that are in the Shambhala tradition, they celebrate Children's Day on the 21st. And that was something that Trungpa had. Oh, that's great. I had forgotten that, Paul. I get mailers from Zingerman's, and there's a reminder in there too that today was Hanukkah start. So happy Hanukkah to those celebrating. Oh, did I call it the Blue Hero and not the Blue Heron? So now Ruth, I would expect Ruth to notice that too. Keen eye. So I will correct that. But it it is both the blue heron and the blue hero. So okay, so yeah, the structure for tonight's sit will be so we'll do a little bit of and this is around so when I first started meditating, I was doing mostly breath focus and breath counting meditation and in insight traditions. And so one of the things that when you start to do loving kindness practice in those traditions, there'll be a little bit of a sort of a gathering of concentration. But it's also from the perspective, Unified Mindfulness perspective, which is the system that I'm certified in. There's a notion around getting sensory clarity, and if we can get a bit of concentration to get sensory clarity, then that helps with us moving into a loving kindness practice. So we'll do a bit of. It'll seem very similar if you've ever sat with me before of a sort of a let's set everything up. We'll settle in a bit. We'll gather a bit of concentration, gather a bit of clarity, and then we'll shift into a little bit of a holiday themed friendliness or loving kindness practice. And then we'll cap that off at the end with a 5 to 6 minutes of 5 to 6 minutes of the do nothing technique. And that's our plan. And always, as I always like to do a mention to Jeff Groves, who kindly reminded me that having my phone on airplane mode will avoid it making weird noises on the live stream. And then I thought about getting my bell, and then I didn't get my bell. So we'll ring the bell and we'll sit for 25 minutes. I'm sure there's a bunch of things I forgot to say, but I've been talking for 7 minutes, so I need to move on. Hello, Colette. Welcome. You're just in time. So I will ring the bell and then we'll begin our set. And again, thank you everyone for being here. Oh. All right. So once a clumsy altar boy, always a clumsy altar boy. All right. So we ring the bell to begin our sitting practice together, our formal practice time. And then really the beginning part is just a matter of kind of our meditation checklist for settling in and arriving. And so I start with posture. Again, you could be standing or lying down or walking, sitting on a cushion, sitting in a chair. All equally valid postures. I'll focus mostly on the sitting posture, but those other options are totally valid. And just beginning with seeing if you can have an upright, if you're sitting, sort of upright but not uptight or not rigid, not stiff. And there's almost a softness or a suppleness to the way that the spine can balance on the sit bones. And as we slow down and we begin to get still, sometimes we'll notice at the end of our day or even at the beginning of our day for our Aussie friends, we might start noticing the tension that we're holding. And just being aware of the tension, like, oh, there's tension, but not sort of like shooing away or trying to scare off the tension. bringing a no big deal attitude. And as we settle in, you might feel a kind of a notion of a fidget, like this, like kind of notion you want to feel a move around a little bit to get settled in. Just the same way that you might notice there's a fidget or an adjustment that a cat or a dog will make as they settle into a spot. So we can move and then return to stillness, and move and return to stillness. And then a few deliberate breaths just to really help emphasize the arriving. Breathing in through the nose allows us to breathe low into the belly. And that also allows us to breathe slow. So slow and low is our tempo that we're looking for. And that slowness is really probably felt most in extending the exhale. And then just kind of leaning on this phrase that the mind follows the body. So as we get still and begin to focus on the body, it kind of helps us to get a little bit of a clarity and a concentration and gather that. And then you can do that by using a home base, like Jeff says. So the breath always available, but just so you have options. Maybe it's the feeling of your feet on the ground. Maybe it's the pressure or support of the body in whatever posture you're in. So feeling into that. Or maybe it's a sense of being able to feel the edge of the body all at once. And for me, I tend to kind of almost focus on my spine, which seems kind of an odd thing, probably, if you haven't done that. But I just kind of feel that midline of my torso. And we're just really one step kind of further into adding a bit of technique from sitting and knowing that you're sitting. So we're sitting, we're knowing that we're sitting, and then we're in contact with something related to our body experience, something that we can use as a home base. And the last thing I'll mention too with the home base, maybe you're noticing something and it's kind of a touch and go thing where you're noticing that, you know, your attention's on your home base, and then kind of shift and then come back to that home base. And those short moments many times are totally fine. You can get a momentum or kind of continuity with stringing those together over time. So just focusing on that home base, and I'll check in a second. All right, so I'm going to offer some loving kindness guidance, but I want to give you the standard sort of pass that you can kind of let my instruction be the wah 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 Charlie Brown noise if you want, and just kind of focus on that being a background noise, and you can totally continue with whatever technique and hum bass you're working on. It's totally fine. But for the loving kindness practice, just bringing to mind someone that you know is someone who maybe is bracing for the holiday season, or somebody you know who's already kind of behind the curve of the busyness vortex. So for me, my sister right now comes to mind. And just seeing if you can bring a bit of a mental image of that person. And if the image doesn't come right away, maybe there's a smell or a sound that can be evoked for that person. And then really not overboard. We're just offering well wishes to this individual. May everything go as smoothly as possible. May you know you're loved no matter what. And just giving yourself the opportunity to customize the phrase as you see fit for the person. And if they're struggling, maybe the standard phrase like, may your holidays be filled with ease isn't really realistic. So you could totally offer that. It'd be amazing if that was available, but you can customize that phrase. May your holidays go smoothly. May that you know that you are loved no matter what. Or I understand what you're going through. And again, working with the phrases, some might not fit great. And we can always go back to the standard phrases. May you be happy. May you feel safe. And if the phrases aren't landing, or you feel like there's a little bit of a difficulty in cultivating warmth, that's fine. You can always use this as a concentration practice. Using the phrases that you're offering as a sort of focus, or almost like a mantra. May you be filled with warmth. May you know you're loved. May things go as smoothly as possible. Just finding a pleasant repetition speed. And then bringing another person to mind, someone else maybe, who you know is not looking forward to the holiday season. And maybe you aren't either, so maybe your phrase to offer this individual is same. Simply that. Or just a reassurance. May you know that you're seen in this holiday season. May you know that you're cared for. And then for some, maybe each repetition of the phrase, you kind of feel like you're getting a little bit of sort of warmth, or like you're stoking a fire, a little bit of embers. And for others, you might not feel any of that. Again, the concentration practice is an option then, if that's how you feel. And then the last option, really just to call out, there's always an opportunity for when we do one of these practices where we get a strong reaction and sort of the opposite reaction. And if that comes up, just seeing if you can kind of, one, you can always step aside. That's always an option. But if you're feeling supported enough, or you have enough resources to sort of experiment with that strong emotion, just seeing if you can begin to focus just on that emotion as what is it made of? Is it a feeling, an emotional feeling in the body? Is there mental talk associated? Is there mental image? Am I feeling flushed? And just seeing if we can begin to kind of untangle the sensations. We're not focused on the content, just untangling the experience. And then shifting to a neutral person. Maybe you don't know enough to know if they're struggling or not, but someone who's been helpful. Maybe they helped fill your propane gas tank, or delivered your groceries, or checked you out at the drugstore. Just seeing if there's any any faces or individuals that come to mind, and offering the phrases to them. Maybe just to customize a bit. May you feel seen in this holiday season. May you know that you're appreciated. Or simply thank you. And if you had a couple people come to mind, then shifting to another neutral person. And seeing if you can make that vivid. Again, offering the phrases. May you feel seen. May you know that you're appreciated. Thank you for making my holidays a bit easier. And then thank you to everyone who's tuning in now live or tuning into the recording. And just well wishes for your holidays. May they be unbusied, if that's even a word. And then again, this is your sit, so you choose, but you could stay with offering phrases if that's what you'd like to do. But I want to give you the cue and the option here that you can shift and let go of the loving kindness practice or our friendliness practice and move over into do nothing. And the quick thumbnail here is that we're not doing anything now to control or guide our attention. We're just letting ourselves sit with no technique. And if we happen to notice that we're trying to implement a technique or use a technique, we let that go. Thank you for your practice. May any merit generated by our time together go to benefit all beings. Super appreciate that you were able to make time to sit here live or on the recording. Thanks to the folks who've messaged me about watching the recordings. So some folks that didn't get to watch last week live had messaged me to appreciate the the totally unplanned sunset behind us in the meditation last week. So if you didn't attend the Do Nothing Project last week, the big news is that there is a time change. It's shifted back 30 minutes. That's awesome to hear. You're totally welcome, Suzanne, and you're totally welcome, Paul. And thank you to everyone. So there is a time shift. So that means it's 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, 6:30 Pacific, or 6:30 Mountain, 5:30 Pacific. I think that means it's Monday at. I think that means it's Monday at 12:15 on the east coast of Australia. So yeah, so it's forward. Yeah, that's a good point. It's forward 30 minutes. True. I guess I hadn't thought about that, but yeah. So that's that. And then about a month from today, I'm going to be out of the country for 3 weeks. Lisa and I are going to Antarctica, or we're going to Argentina, and then the South Falkland or the South Georgia and Falkland Islands, and then Antarctica. And so to keep consistency for the group, I'm trying to look at finding some folks to sit in for me, which is kind of a fun deal. So a month from today, we're going to Antarctica. This has been a trip that's been in the plans since 2000, well, maybe the end of 2017. So that'll be 7 out of 7 continents for us, which is yes, and penguins. So we should see hopefully our fair share of penguins. Yeah, so I'm hoping. I think there's a chance that Jeff filling in won't happen, just because to do it on this channel, you have to have a laptop to stream in, and that probably will be super inconvenient for Jeff. So that's but I'm gonna talk to Jeff about that and see if he's as amused by that idea as everybody who pitched it in this channel at some point months ago. So maybe that's an option, but again, no commitment there. But there's a few coaches from that I know from that might be able to fill in. There's a few folks who were students of Jeff's How to Guide Meditation who are now in teacher training programs. There's a possibility there. And then there's a possibility for Aaron. I haven't asked Aaron yet, so I didn't want to say anything publicly, but there's always that possibility as well. So I want to keep the continuity. I think the continuity has been really important for me, and I think it's important for the group, and that midweek continuity as well, or at least midweek for Northern Hemisphere folks. So that's something I just want to mention now. So I'm working on that. I'll have some more news soonish. Oh, that's right. Toby would be another person. But yeah, there's some folks know. Well, I shouldn't say anybody else, but yeah. Anyway, super possible options, I think. So yeah, I at least have reached out to 2 folks. So, and it sounds like there's at least one of those people can cover at least one of the 3 weeks. So that's great. So that's coming up, and then trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think there's anything else news-wise. So, but yeah. And then I was gonna offer the week, but it's the holiday season. Requests. If you have a meditation guidance technique or whatever that you're thinking of as far as a request or something along those lines, totally. Oh yeah, I will definitely show pictures, Paul. There'll definitely Yeah, and then I'm probably a little bit too active on Instagram, but I'm my personal account is just Leonard's Leonards. Um, our trip to northern Arizona and stuff, I photographed a bunch of stuff. So I tend to take pictures of weird stuff though, like like check this out or look at this panel or like here's this like maintenance cover that's cool. So I probably look at the world a slightly different way than most, but that consider like what you would post on Instagram. Um, but yeah, definitely, I think we'll be taking lots and lots of pictures. So that should be super super fun. So I'm moderately nervous about the idea that that's a month away, and I'm moderately nervous about saying it because it's been one of these trips that's been kind of on the edge for us, where it's been happening and not happening and happening, not happening, and waitlisted and all these other sort of things. So really sort of like cautious optimism and excitement behind that. Um, yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, so if you have requests, I didn't tell you how to make requests. You can always email those requests to me. That would be one option. You should be able to message me at Leonard's on Instagram at leonards.coaching. I think my instant messages or private messages or whatever on Instagram are open, so you should be able to send those in. So if you have any requests or ideas, um, I do think gratitude and like loving kindness are probably like the best things possible for December. So I'm glad that resonated with some folks. So yeah, big exhale. Have an excellent rest of the week. And I will see folks in the chat box on Sunday. Oh, that's great. Great to hear, Bill. Awesome. We'll see you.